everybody and welcome back. We are here for another episode of the Altered Index 2025 challenge. This is the challenge that I'm running here on my channel and also in my Facebook group Nonstop Papercrafts. So today we are on week 44. Now first of all I do have to apologise. I completely forgot about last week's video. Last week it was the last week of term at school. It had been a very long term, 8 weeks, normally they're 6 weeks. So I think all of us staff were literally just scraping ourselves off the floor by the end of last week. So I absolutely apologise. I did not do last week's video. I did still make the card, so I'll show you that quickly. Last week it was Love and Romance. So this is the card that I put together. So I just used a heart stencil for the pinks in the background. And then I've used some texture paste for the darker pink hearts here, and then I've just cut out this image which I thought was really sweet. They look like they're really in love, and then I have the sentiments, "You're all I had hoped to find in every single way." So that's my card for last week. As I said, this was week 43, Love and Romance. So again, massive apologies, but last week, like I said, I was scraping myself off the floor. It was just such a long term. It is now the half term, so we get a little week off before another very long one, a 7-week term before Christmas. But we are here for week 44. Now, if you remember in previous weeks, I have been kind of letting you know that I have swapped around a couple. So this week was supposed to have been labels, and then in a couple of weeks' time there is one called Haunted. Well, I thought, well, since it's Halloween tomorrow, I would swap those round. So I've actually swapped it. So week 44 today, I am doing the card Haunted. Now, to prepare for that, I have gathered a few bits and pieces. So I've got some inks here. I've got Dusty Concord, Hickory Smoke, and then I've just got my Versafine black ink. And then I think it's 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did a video. I'd received a Halloween pack from Grabby. It's a really amazing book, actually. If you haven't seen it, I have got a Grabby playlist. You can go back and check that out. But it's an amazing book full of all sorts of different projects and things that you can do for Halloween. My daughter and I have been taking out the banners and things and creating those so we can decorate our window. But I have pulled out a few pages. Now, I'm not going to use all of these. I have been having a little look at them, but I really like these kind of sketchy drawings, but they are clear stickers. So obviously you've then got to be careful about what you put in the background. I've also got some ghosties, which again are clear stickers. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use these. We'll have to kind of see in a minute. But what I really did want to use is I love this oval frame with the candle. Now, I was thinking of cutting out the candle individually, but I thought I actually quite like the frame. Now, I did want to use this one. This one's also quite a pretty one. But I don't particularly want necessarily the faces. I just really love this purple candle, and obviously that then links in with the purple that I'm going to be using in the background. So I'm going to use this. I am going to ink my background a little bit. What I was also thinking of doing, because what I remembered is last year I received the Grabby Halloween box, and in last year's box, so I've got this folder with all of my different stencils in. I'm just moving it so you can actually see the stencils, and there were loads and loads of different stencils in the Halloween box last year. These ones were my favourite because you can layer them up, so you get the pumpkins and then you can add the faces to them. That was a pretty good layering stencil. We've got some bat wings, we've got Trick or Treat, which obviously I'm not going to use, that's too big. You've got a witch on a broomstick, you've got the pumpkins, cats, brooms, witches' hats. You've got the gravestones. Now I was possibly thinking of using this, or on this page you've got the spider web as well, which I do quite like, so I might use that. I think that was the last one. So I might use a bit of the spider web. And then I don't know whether to use this down at the bottom. Oh, getting my hair everywhere. Don't know whether to have this sort of down at the bottom in the background. I think I might do, or this one actually. Yeah, I might use this top one. Okay, so let's get that out of the way. Let's bring my card in. So first of all, I obviously want to do some inking. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to start with grey in the middle. I'm going to have some purple in the outside. Then in my black ink, I'm going to have maybe this down at the bottom. and then a little bit of kind of spider webbing up at the top. So that's what I'm kind of thinking, and then like I said, I will cut out and have this on there as well. So let's just grab some of my ink brushes. So I've got my purple one somewhere, I've got one for my grey. Okay, I appear to have two for orange, so I'm going to use this one for my grey for now. So I'm going to start in the middle with the grey. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of a brush. Now I don't want this being too dark in the middle, so I'm just going to lightly kind of smush around. I do want it to look quite smoky, so I don't mind if it's darker in areas, lighter in others. That's absolutely fine. I want it to look a little bit smoky. Okay. Like I said, I'm going to do this all in the middle. And I am going to blend it out. It doesn't matter if it fills up most of the card, because I will be coming back in with the purple in a moment. I just want to make sure that it's really kind of spread itself out. Okay, that'll do. And then, like I said, I'm going to come in with the purple. Okay, so I'm just going to come around all of the edges, just blending it into that grey a little bit as well. Like I said, it doesn't matter if it starts kind of overlapping. Okay, so that's what we're going to go with. Just going to give this a wipe so we don't get ink absolutely everywhere. Right, and then I do want to cut this out, so I think I'm going to do that first. And then I'll start adding other bits. So obviously it's got this really beautiful frame around it. I don't want that, I just want the oval. So I'm just going to get the oval shape cut out. Now I'm not the best person at cutting. I will try and go around as neatly as I can. Okay, so there's it cut out. Now I'm not sure what way up I had this. So you've kind of got that smoky grey in the background with this as well. Now I think I might come in with a little bit more grey, just to kind of darken up some of that background. Now obviously I am going to come in areas with black as well. But I do just feel that in some areas it just needs to be a little bit darker, because you kind of want that smoky appearance. That's a little bit better. Right, okay. So now for the other bits. So like I said, I quite like this down here. So let's grab, got a dabber. I'm just going to use that for this bit. So I'm just going to hold it in place where I want it. So I do want it down at the very, very bottom. So about there. So I'm just going to hold it in place with one of my hands, and I'm just going to slowly go over with the dabber. Now what I'm doing is, as I'm kind of pushing it down, I'm giving it a slight twist. You need to be careful with stencils, especially if you've got a foam dabber, because it will end up cutting up and tearing up your the top sponge part, so I'm just being careful with this. That's why I'm not just rubbing it round, I'm just giving it a slight twist as I push it down. Okay, and that last little bit. Okay, then I'm going to slowly peel that away, and that's how it looks down at the bottom. I really, really like that. So I will wash, obviously, my stencils and things at the end. Right, now at the top, I wanted some spider web. So let's turn it round. Now again, I am going to use the dabber, but I'm just going to, same as I did last time, I'm just going to kind of dab in between. Now the darkest part I want to be at the top, then I'm just kind of fading it out, and I will blend it in with that grey brush again in a moment. I just want to kind of get some more of this top part. Something like that. Okay, then using the grey brush, I'm just going to come in and just blend it out a little bit. It just softens up that edge. Like so. Right, let's just give this a wipe again. Right, so that's the effect that we've got going on at the moment. So we're going to have that on there. Do I want a ghosty? Right, let's have a little look. So this one looks pretty good. Just seeing if you're even going to see it, because if you're not, there's no point. See, it's so very light. I mean, it's great if you've got a really kind of pale background, but you're really not seeing anything. So it just seems a bit silly wasting a sticker when visually you're not really going to see anything. So I'm just going to pop that back on there. My daughter can use those. That's not a problem. Right, okay, so what I am going to do is I've got some cheesecloth, which I'm going to use just to add something around the edge of this. So, oh, crikey, about there. And obviously you want this to look really kind of withered and tattered. Okay, let's get rid of some of these frayed parts. And then it's going to look something like that. Okay, so let's glue some of this down. So take this off first, and all I'm going to do is just lift it up, squirt some glue down, and then push it back down. Now obviously this glue does dry clear, so so it doesn't matter if you can kind of see it at the moment seeping through, and obviously once I've got this down, this will hold it in place as well. Hang on, this glue does not seem to want to come out. Okay, I'm going to try a different glue. Right, this glue is actually a little bit stronger as well. This is my Beacon 3-in-1, this one. So it is a clear glue. And that is going to go about there. Okay. A little blob behind here just to make sure that bit doesn't move around. Okay, so I'm now thinking, do we want the word haunt? Yeah, let's go for that. Okay, so I'm going to use this to spell out haunt. I do like this. I've used this quite a lot in these. Okay, so we've got the word haunt. Do just need to trim it this side. And I'm going to have this down here, like so. Okay, and there it is. So this was my week 44. As I said, I swapped it round and I've gone with haunted for this time. I've used elements that I received from the Grabby Halloween box, and yeah, I really love how this has come together. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Again, apologies for missing last week's video. If you have enjoyed this one, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. If you're not already a subscriber, I'd really love for you to do so. Please make sure that you also click that bell button. That way you'll be notified of any new crafty videos. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next crafty video. Bye for now.